Let's go, team. Coming to you Tuesday night live. I know I'm late. I'm later than I normally am. It's just been one of those evenings. I've got extra stuff now on a Tuesday in Canada. And then I was at the gym, so it kind of condensed time. I need to eat. So yeah, coming to you later. Better late than never, right? Still going to bring you value, and you can watch on the replay. So we're all good. Hashtag replay. But coming to you tonight with Don't Follow the Recipes. Life can be easier, and explain to you what I mean about this, and some top tips around that, because I think we get in our own heads, right? We get in our own heads. I just noticed it's quite appropriate I'm doing this in the kitchen because I'm surrounded by all the recipe books behind me. So quite appropriate I'm talking about this. But yeah, just we can get our own heads around recipes and get stuck on, oh, we don't have this ingredient, we don't have that, we don't like this. And it's like, it's okay to switch things out. Like, obviously, if you're going to fundamentally change the portions and the amounts, it's going to change the macronutrients, the calories, and all that jazz. But in the main, if you are taking the main protein, having the same weight of protein, so say like you've got the chicken as a chicken, and then the things around it, you can change the vegetables. If you don't like asparagus, have broccoli. If you don't like broccoli, whatever, have Brussels. So don't overthink it. And if you're like, oh, I don't like red pepper, well, have green pepper, yellow pepper, whatever it is you don't like, just switch it out. It doesn't, when it comes to veg, it really doesn't matter. Veg is about obviously the nutrients, but it's also about satisfying your senses in terms of the colors and the brightness of things. And if you're like, I don't like that thing, don't use that as a barrier to having that recipe. Often what happens when I give clients meal plans, is they can be like, oh, I do like this and that, and I'll switch it out, because my philosophy is super important they enjoy their food. But then if you go, oh, actually I never thought about that, I don't like that, and I'm like, it's cool to put your twist on it. And that's what I say to people, put your twist on it. Alina messed me earlier, she said, oh, what should I do? Put your twist on it. Like, use your imagination, be creative, put your twist on it. Have your protein is the same, and everything else around it, veg-wise, is obviously going to be good. So go for it. Yes, I'm not talking about having a plate of potatoes. Like, I'm not saying, oh, you've got to have then all the chips, knock yourself out with chips. I'm just saying, use your intelligence and get creative and use the veg that you enjoy eating. And then also with cooking too, like Marion in the 4-day challenge, there was a dish that other people loved, and Marion didn't fly with it. She's like, oh, I really didn't enjoy this. And so she cooked it differently. So same ingredients, exactly the same portions, exactly the same ingredients, and she just cooked it differently. So again, it's a way of, you don't have to follow the recipe, cooking things differently. So if you've got all the ingredients, but you don't like that veg when it's a bit crunchy, then boil it or do whatever, put it in the oven and bake it rather than having it raw and crunchy. So it's that whole thing going, right, what is it you like to eat around the veg? What is it you like in terms of texture, and then create it off the back of that. And like Alina tonight switched out blue cheese for goats. So it's just like, sorry, for cottage cheese, she switched out blue cheese for cottage cheese. And again, she's still got a protein fix, and in terms of calorie content and the protein, much better for you than the blue cheese. And she'd mixed in a bit of parmesan and still loved it, enjoyed it. So it's really just getting creative with it and taking that moment to step back and not seeing it as a blocker, and also having confidence in yourself. Like with veg, you're not going to go wrong, right? Unless you're having a load of chips, but let's not include the chips as veg. But unless you're having a load of chips, you cannot go wrong with veg. It's there to give you nutrients, it's there to fill you up, help you feel fuller for longer. And it's making sure that you stick with your protein measurement as it says, and then build the rest of your plate around it. And if you're like, what about carbs, Julie? You can switch those out. Again, carbs, it depends on. I just mentioned chips. So if you're having chips, then switch it for the sweet potato, because it's going to fill you up, fuel you for longer. And there's so many recipes that have normal potatoes, and I'm not a big fan of them. Really, just doesn't really fly with me. And I find sweet potato much more enjoyable and much more filling, and works for my body better. So again, it's looking at, well, what are the options for you? I done a reel earlier about the pouches of the different grains and which ones are healthier. And again, grains are a great source of fiber, but again, it's what feels good for you. If you're having the plain grains, you're like, oh, I can't stomach these, they don't taste great, then try some with flavour. Yes, account for the fact you can have more salt in it, and what else might add to it. But actually, if that's the way you would get a source of fiber in, and that's going to mean that with your protein, you have some grains opposed to not having anything at all, then by all means have it. So I'm just saying, let's take away the pressure, let's take away the complexity, and just make life a bit easier. Yes, you've got the main components from the recipe, but you can cook it differently, you can switch out the vegetables to ones you like, and actually enjoy your meal. Because if you sit there with vegetables you don't like, with a meal that's not being cooked how you enjoyed it with texture, taste, then chances are you're going to chuck it, and then you'll be going, right, okay, What am I going to have now? Snacks. I'm going to have snacks because I'm still hungry and I've just wasted my dinner. And then that'll be frustrating for you too. And you'll feel like, why can't I do this healthy eating thing? So it really is about you being creative and putting your twists on recipes. Main components, twists all around. And like I say, take the pressure off, allow you to use up what you've got in your fridge too, and avoid food waste. So you get creative with the recipes. And like I say, with my clients, I start them off with meal plans. So basically, tune into following a meal plan, because a lot of people are off piece and don't have a clue what to eat and when to eat, and it's really about baselining them and getting back onto the meal plans. I'm not a big fan of using macros when people start out, and the reason why is because I find macros, people don't know what's going on and don't follow things, and we don't tend to get results. So because tracking isn't that accurate, so I prefer to give people meal plans. But when I give clients meal plans, again, within that, the conversation I've just had, that's your food for the day, that's your recipe, that's your main components in terms of ingredients. Then you can switch up the vegetables. Yeah, if you don't like the chicken, let me know, because I'll work out the macros, because it does make a difference if you switch out the protein. But if you can keep the protein the same, then everything else around it can be good. And if you're like, oh, but I'm fancying something sweet, there's nothing in here snack-wise sweet, I'm like, knock yourself out, have as much fruit as you like. I say as much fruit because, again, you get nutrients for it, it's going to fill you, it's going to give you that sweet taste too. And if you don't like fruit, you're not a big fan of fruit, have veg, snack on the veg, the carrot sticks. Some people eat a pepper whole, all those things. So yeah, even working with clients, my meal plans, as much as I give them prescribed recipes, within that there's flex to hope they can switch out depending on what they've got. And also it helps them learn that they can do exactly what I'm talking about, that you don't need to follow the recipe. Life can be easier. Just take the main components, cook it how you like. Obviously, if you're going to deep fry it, like, come on, let's be real, get us serious. So if you're thinking, oh great, Julie says we can have chips and just deep fry them and do what I want, let's be real, you're then having a chippy. So be honest with yourself about where you are, creating positive swap outs, being creative, creating new meals. I mean, God, you've got all these recipe books, create your own new meals, your own twists, your own flavors, new dishes, in terms of switching things out that you've never tried before, and you might find new things you love as well. All right, team. So quick one tonight, because it's simple and it makes your life easier. So you don't need to follow a recipe. Life can be easier. Put your twist on it and you'll find some new recipes that you really love and enjoy. And the worst thing that's going to happen is you're just going to have your protein to eat because your veg isn't that great, but I'm sure you've got more veg in the fridge to go again. All right, thanks for joining me. Take care. Appreciate you all.